Here's some tips about traveling to Punta Cana. I recently took a solo trip to Punta Cana. My first tip is to make sure to have your customs forms ready. There are 2 forms that you need to complete, one to enter Punta Cana and one to return to the United States. You can fill out the form online. The form is 100% free to complete and you can find it with your airline carrier. It's important to complete this form beforehand so that you can check into your flight. If you do not do this, you might miss your flight. The second tip that I have is to make sure when you are returning back to the US, you need to complete the Rona form. I can't say the name on here, but it has something to do with what happened in 2020. I never knew that this form existed. I never heard anyone mention it, but it's very important because I was not able to check in for my return flight because of this form. Thankfully, I was able to go to the ticket counter and check into my flight. They completed the form for me whenever I went to the ticket counter. My next tip is definitely to utilize Uber. Uber is super cheap on this island. I was very surprised. But also make sure whenever you are booking your Uber, take a screenshot of the price before you book. The staff at the hotel told me that guests would book Uber and then Uber sometimes would end up charging them a higher price. So if you take a screenshot, you can always contact Uber support and get your money back for the difference. Speaking about transportation, let's talk about taxis. I used taxis one time during my trip in Punta Cana. Please be aware that some taxis may try to overcharge you. A taxi tried to charge me $75 to return back to my hotel after going to the club. I told them no thanks and that Uber was cheaper and I started to walk away. And then they were like, oh, let's make a deal. And they lowered the price to $25. If the price seems unreasonably high, it probably is unreasonably high, and just go ahead and tell them no thanks. I also recommend while you're in Punta Cana to definitely book an excursion. The excursion prices are so cheap and so affordable, so you're definitely going to want to book an excursion or 2. I ended up booking a party boat as my excursion and it was such a great time. I had a blast. Another tip is to make sure to be mindful of the foods that you eat. I did not eat any foods outside of my hotel because I did not want to get any foodborne pathogens. If you do want to eat some food off your resort, that's completely fine, but please make sure that you do your due diligence. Make sure that you're reading the reviews. If anyone says that they got sick from the food, you need to not eat there. When you arrive at the Punta Cana airport, be prepared because there will be a lot of taxi drivers that will kind of bombard you and ask you if you want taxis, and it can be overwhelming. So be prepared, don't be overwhelmed. I suggest that you have transportation set up, whether it be private transportation or you can order an Uber. Those are all my tips for now. I hope you enjoy your trip.